So this morning we were watching the Pokemon Direct. Looking for some DLC news, maybe some like home integration. And we got some of that stuff. But what we got that really threw things on its head was the announcement of two new Paradox Pokemon that are actually available right now. The raids are available right now to go catch. Walking Wake, which is the Paradox of Suicune, and Iron Leaves, which is the Paradox of Verzian. Two very, very cool designs. I'm doing this video because these Pokemon have really good competitive viability in my opinion, especially Walking Wake. So we're gonna go over this first. So first things first, typing. Water Dragon. Water Dragon is really good because it resists steel, it resists water, it resists fire by 4, it resists water and fire by 4 times, and it resists steel, which is really good. Everything else hits for neutral except for Fairy, which is super effective, Dragon, which is super effective, but there's not a lot of Dragon coverage running around formats right now anyway. Just Flutter Mane with Fairy, and that's actually your only 2 weaknesses. So like already you have a kind of a bulky water type. That's kind of like a VGC cliche, like bulky water type. So you kind of have that, right? Because it's stats, which we're gonna go over next, which are actually really good as well. Down here, as you can see across the board, they're really good. So 109 base speed is amazing. It's not phenomenal in like the conventional sense, because like I said, Flutter Mane, Iron Bundle, all that stuff is way faster. But once you start getting past those really fast Paradox Pokemon, that 100 speed stat is like a really important one. And you outclass those 100 base Pokemon stats by 9 points, which is really, really good in my opinion. Your special defense 83, defense 91, HP 99 is, with its defensive typing, is actually pretty good bulk. You'll be able to take hits with this thing pretty easily because not a lot of things are hitting you for super effective. Because again, not a lot of Dragon coverage, and it's just Flutter Mane, and you can just build your team to cover around Flutter Mane for you if you're having trouble with it. Special attack is really high, 125, which is awesome, right? Because usually a mon with like decent bulk like this and good defensive typing doesn't really get the speed and the attack to also go with it, which is like insane for this Pokemon. So it's a 590 base stat total. It's like pseudo legendary radiance, which is awesome. The most important thing that it gets though, and we'll go over all the moves here, but there's one in particular that I want to show you guys, and it is a Hydro Steam. This one right here. So it says normal, but it's actually water. Pardon Cerebi, they're just making the updates as fast as they can. It's base 80, it's base 80 special water stab. Ignore the normal and physical here, but the base 80 is correct and the effect is correct. User blasts the target with boiling hot water. This move's power is not lowered in the sunlight, but instead it's boosted by 50%. While most water type moves usually get cut in half by sun, this Pokemon gets a buff from the sun. Not only does it get a buff on this water move from the sun, but it gets a buff because of photosynthesis as well. And as we saw with the stats, its highest attack is a special attack stat. So in most situations, you're probably gonna have it EV for this to be the highest. So so this gets a 50% buff because of photosynthesis in the sun, or Cork Drive, or Cork Drive, or Booster Energy. My apologies. So yeah, you already get a buff in the sun because of that. And then this water move also gets a buff in the sun. And the kicker is that it also gets the buff in the rain. There's nothing here that indicates that it would not get buffed in the rain. So it's base 80 in any normal weather, sand or hail or snow, I guess it's called now. But in sun or rain, it's base 120. And that doesn't even account for any other boost that you have. It doesn't account for the stab, doesn't account for the ability, nothing. It also gets Sunny Day. So as of right now, outside of Prankster Mons, I'm pretty sure this is the fastest Sunny Day setter that we have. So you could run Sunny Day on something like this. It also gets Rain Dance, right? So you could really be a annoying weather setter with this thing. But you can boost your own sun, so you can get your own photosynthesis boost and get your own Hydro Steam boost, which is actually insane. Let's go into some of its like coverage, because you would think that grass types it would have a hard time with, but between Flamethrower, which is also boosted by sun, which is kind of busted, between Flamethrower and like just Dragon Stab, because it does get Dragon Pulse, which is a consistent 85 Dragon Stab move, it can hit those things for super effective or neutral, right? You may not run Dragon Pulse if you don't need the coverage, but Flamethrower and Hydro Steam are pretty much guarantees to be on these sets, which is actually really, really, really cool. You have Aqua Jet on this thing, so if you want to hit those Focus Sash mods and break sashes or get some priority damage at the end, It gets Roar, which shoots out of the opponent's opposing Pokemon. So like if they're trying to set up Trick Room, you could roar them out. If something is setting up in front of you, you could roar it out, reset those boosts. Also gets Nova Roar, which lowers the target's attack and special attack. Gets Breaking Swipe. Its physical attack stat is not like great, but it gets moves like this that you can still use if you want to use it for some more utility, like Roar, Breaking Swipe, to keep mons from setting up on you. You can probably, actually, can you roar out down Dozo? I don't think you can, but you can Breaking Swipe it, and you four times resist Wave Crash. So that's also something that's really, really good. This thing has Hydro Pump, but you'll never run Hydro Pump on it. There's no reason to. Never ever reason to. Ever again. This mon is not cursed with the Hydro Pump curse, where you only have Hydro Pump and you're gonna miss all your Hydro Pumps. You have consistent. It has the best water move in the game, and probably the best water move of all time that isn't what's it called from Kyogre? Not Origin Pulse, Water Spout. Probably the best water move that is a Water Spout. It gets some other utility like Scary Face. It gets Chilling Water if you want to use it for more utility, but I think, well, no, Chilling Water could be fine, but Breaking Strike's probably better because it hits both opposing targets. It gets Endure. So yeah, as you can see, like this one gets sub, and I think the other one gets sub too. We're gonna go over Iron Leaves in a second, but you see that it gets a lot of moves. It gets a lot of coverage. It gets really big hitting special moves like Draco Meteor and stuff like that if you just want to run Draco instead of Dragon Pulse. But you have options, right? Any Pokemon that gives you options is always going to be at least a bare bones good Pokemon. But with these stats and Hydro Steam, it's going to be insanely difficult to deal with. Obviously, it's weak to like opposing bundles by 4 times technically, but that's what Terra's for. That's exactly what Terastallization is for. You can just Terra to water, and Freeze Dry does so much less to you if you just Terra water, because it's only super effective instead of like 4 times super effective. You could also like Terra Dragon, I guess, but I don't think you'd ever want to do that, right? Because you'd rather just drop the dragon weaknesses so you don't get hit by super effective by Flutter Mane, and then you would just have to deal with like Freeze Dry and then like opposing grass types. But again, you can hit those with fire moves, so it's not the end of the world. But yeah, this thing's gonna be insane. It's not gonna be legal yet. We don't know if it's gonna be legal for like Series 3 or in the future, but you can capture it right now. Next thing is the Iron Leaves. So I think people are kind of sleeping on Iron Leaves a bit. It's grass psychic typing, which I would consider not like it's a solid offensive typing, right? Grass hits a few things like ground and rock and water, which you might need because the stuff like the Walking Leaves is a water type, especially if it Terra waters. So you can hit Iron Bundle for really strong damage. Probably just knock it out with a Leaf Blade. Spoiler alert, does get Leaf Blade. I guess another really strong move as well, which I'll go over in a minute. As you can see here though, you get a lot of resistances, right? You resist water, you resist electric, you resist fighting, ground, psychic. That's just really good because water stab is pretty strong with a bundle, and then it will be strong with the Walking Wake. I gotta get used to that name, Walking Wake. You are neutral to Fairy, which is good, but you are 2 times weak to Ghost, so Flutter Mane still does kind of pose a problem. But Flutter Mane's gonna pose a problem all the time, no matter what. It's just a good Pokemon, so you can't overthink that. You are weak to Ice, but there's not a lot of Ice stab right now as it stands. Terra Flying could be a bit annoying for you, and Fire could be a bit annoying. But again, you have a solid set of resistances and a bunch of neutrality, so it's not that bad. And then offensively, you hit a lot of good things, right? So let's go to the stats. I want to go to stats. So another thing, right? Another Pokemon that's above the base 100s, which is actually it's above Garchomp and all the other base 100s underneath Garchomp, which is 103, which is really good, I think, right? It's not as fast as the other Paradox Pokemon, which will probably hold it back a little bit. But I think as we've learned with like booster energy and stuff like that, because not all the time does like the fastest Paradox mons hold booster energy. So sometimes if you're holding booster energy, you can actually outspeed them, which is really, really good. But its defense is what I want to look at, right? Your special defense stat is really nice. Your defense stat and your HP with your typing for most things is going to give you some survivability, which I think is going to be very important. You might want the defense to be a little bit higher because you want to be able to survive like Kowtow Cleaves and stuff. I don't know how well it stands up to that. And it doesn't really hit Kingambit back for much, but you hit other stuff for a lot. The attack stat is otherworldly, right? 130 is really strong. And not only is 130 really strong, but if you look at the coverage that it gets, like I said, Leaf Blade is a great grass type stab. base 90, and it has the chance to crit, right? So you're getting stab on the move off a 130 attack stat, and you're getting a higher critical hit ratio. So like you're gonna just blow things up with Leaf Blade. But it's kind of busted-ish move. Not as busted as the walking wakes move, but it gets Side Blade. Let me find it. Here it goes, Side Blade. User renders a target with an ethereal blade. This move's power is boosted by 50% if the user is on electric terrain. So this is also a psychic stab. It's not normal, so pardon them for that. So it's 80, and then you get your stab, which is 120, and then if you Terra, it's like another 1.5 boost, or it's a 2 times boost overall, something like that, which is insane. And then it's boosted by another 50% in terrain, in electric terrain, and in terrain you also get your Quark Drive boost in terrain. So this thing is going to just blow stuff up, right? If you can get terrain on the field with this Pokemon in a good position, I don't think there's many things that are going to be able to stand up to it, because the only thing that resists it really is just Dark, which is immune. So everything else is just gonna go down. But here's the thing, right? For the Dark types, you get Sacred Sword and you get Close Combat. Off that 130 attack stat, both of those are gonna be insane, right? And then if you Terra to something that's not Psychic, so that you don't get hit by super effective Dark type moves, you're in even better shape, right? Because now like you don't get hit by super effective Sucker Punches or Kowtow Cleaves or Dark Pulses, stuff like that. And then you just hit those mons back with Close Combat or Sacred Sword, and you just rip right through them, which is actually insane to think about. You also get like Bug Stab, but I think the Fighting Stab is better. It gets a lot of actually something that's really cool. It gets 3 different terrain uses. So let me actually scroll down to that for you guys. Here it goes. So it gets Grassy Terrain, Electric Terrain, and Psychic Terrain. I know manual terrain setting isn't something that's been like common, but I think with the mon with this kind of bulk, and with having the speed that it does, I think it might be something you can try, right? Is setting up one of the terrains. You can set up your own electric terrain, but you also set up your own grassy terrain, right? For those really big leaf blades, or your own psychic terrain. Granted, I don't know if setting up psychic terrain is worth it for 2 reasons. One, you could just run Indeedee. And if your main psychic stab is getting boosted by electric terrain anyway, and you're getting a Quark Drive boost, you actually get more value out of just running electric terrain on it, because you set up the terrain to get your Quark Drive boost, you get the boost on Side Blade, and then you also stop like Spores, even though you're already a grass type. But let's say you want to Psychic Terra, which makes you no longer immune to grass. You want to be able to do that. So you would just blow up an Amoonguss, right, with Side Blade and Terra, and your Terra Psychic move with terrain, because it can't put you to sleep in terrain, and then you just blow it up. So it's actually really strong now that I think about it. That's crazy. I didn't even think about that when I was thinking about making this video. That's nuts. Oh, I gotta go talk to my people about that. This thing hard counters Amoonguss. Oh, that's really good. Oh my gosh, that's really good. It also gets Quash. I don't know if you'd ever want Quash in this. It's not that fast of a Quash user. But it gets like Helping Hand. Calm Mind's probably not really important, but you could use it. It gets Iron Defense, which is nice. It gets in Substitute, right? So because it has decent bulk and you can Terra, you can get behind a sub, and then you can really like start wreaking havoc. It gets Taunt, which is a good utility move. It gets Swords Dance to boost that attack. It gets Imprison, but I don't think it gets Trick Room. Imprison Trick Room would have been nice, but it does get Trailblaze. I think it might be the fastest Trailblaze stab user we have. It might just be the fastest Trailblaze user we have, which basically it's 50 base power, whatever, but you have a big attack stat, and when you use it, it boosts your speed. So now you're already at a +1. So that could be a useful move on it as well. But most of the time, I'm pretty sure people are going to run like the Side Blades, Leaf Blade, Protect, and a Fighting type move just for coverage. You also do get Solar Blade. So like if weather does become very prominent in the future, which it is going to, just be prepared for. I'm not gonna say it will become. Sun is going to be a dominant weather sooner or later. Solar Blade could be a good tech, because then you don't gotta charge up, right? And you can just blow things up. But even then, Leaf Blade is still more consistent. But yeah, so those are the 2 Paradox Pokemon that we have, the Walking Wake and the Iron Leaves. Let me know which one you prefer. Have you caught them already? Because that would probably also answer the question of which one you prefer, because I was going after the Walking Wake first. Even though I'm playing Violet, I was going for Walking Wake on the online stuff, because I really wanted this Pokemon, because Suicune's one of my favorites of all time. And then I got the Iron Leaves. So yeah, let me know which one you like more. Which one is your favorite? Do you think we're gonna get more Paradox Pokemon to go with their counterparts, Entei, Raikou, and the other Sacred Swords, which their names are leaving me right now, Cobalion and Terrakion. There we go. So yeah, let me know if you think we're gonna get those. Otherwise, leave a like. Thank you guys for being subscribed. Thank you guys for always having on notifications. I really appreciate it. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.